Thanks so much for sticking around. It's time for one of my favorite segments of the show, where we discuss this week's headlines. And I assure you, no, this is real. Eva Tagliano, as always, in studio to help me do just that. Now, Ed, what people don't know is that you don't, or maybe they know, you don't prepare for headlines.
I don't.
I throw these at you in real time, and your responses are just real and genuine. You've not prepared or rehearsed.
Right, and sometimes when I do prepare and rehearse, those are also genuine responses.
Yeah.
But I don't. But I don't prepare
moment.
and rehearse for this. And I am happy to say this is one of your favorite segments.
Well,
how many segments do you have? One of your favorites.
Well, I have to make sure to say that because I might have a guest later in the show that's like, why isn't this your favorite segment? You know, and so I have to make sure. But now here's what I want to put.
This is ad-libbed. I don't know
totally
what you're going to throw.
Exactly right. Now, uniquely, this week, this is unique to this week, I am not prepared. Okay, here you go. You ready for this? So my director says to me, there was something that you need to show Ed. I've not seen it. And so I don't know, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but you're good, and I'm okay with this. So
you don't know if I'm good, because you don't know what it is. All right.
But he thought it was something that you need to see, and he wanted to get your reaction to it. Are you ready? So you've got a monitor behind you here. We're just going to take a look. David, go ahead. Oh, wow.
That wasn't supposed to be released yet. I was supposed to call a press conference to announce that
Ed, what is...
I just lower my voice and make it raspy.
What's going on? Now, tell us what's going on in that.
Well, I have a friend who has some Photoshop capabilities, and they put my face on Batman.
Wow. So, and was it
the only problem was the muscles weren't big enough. So if he could broaden the shoulders a little bit.
I just want to say, now I'm not a professional when it comes to Photoshop and editing and everything, but if they could have turned your face just a little bit, because the shadow on the side kind of it looks like a bib. Kind of like you're wearing a bonnet or something. They just needed
First of all, it's called a cowl.
Okay,
it's Batman's cowl. And my face was too fat to fit on Batman's head.
We've got to stop having this discussion. Last week we talked about skinny people being banned. We've got to stop. Let's get into this week's headlines because these are real.
And by the way, who was it that told you to put that up there?
David Michaud, director of the Meeke Show.
All right, good.
So there you go.
I know who to drag to the Batcave.
Okay. Okay, you ready for this? And no, this is real. Here's the headline. A man is released from jail, but he refuses to leave the jail, saying that he wants the police department or wherever he is, he wants the officers to take him home or to take him to a local motel or something, wherever he's going to be staying. And they refuse. And they say, no, we're not gonna take you. You need to go ahead and get a taxi and get off the premises. He doesn't. So they charge him with trespassing. And they arrest him again. And he's in jail. No, this is real.
No, that's real. You know, you ever see those movies where people get out of prison? You know, especially the older movies, and they show the big gates opening up, and then they walk out, and I've wondered before, where do they go?
What do they do?
If you don't have your old sweetheart who was, waiting for you to get out of prison, if you don't have them there, you've got nobody.
Right.
So this guy got arrested. Now, this is not one of those deals where there are people who like to stay in prison because they feel safe and it's what they've known, and they get food,
shelter, all of these things. Well, his original arrest charge was damage to personal property. He was in jail for 2 months. He was released and he said, hey, I need a ride to the motel. And the cop said, no, buddy, you're on your own. And he says, well, you guys got to take me there.
Well, I'm with the police. I'm with the police on this. They're busy, I hope. I'm not sure what town it is. Maybe they're not busy, but they're too busy to drive people around.
Don't you think they could have taken him to the motel, though, Ed? Don't you think somebody, Officer Friendly, could have put him in the back and said, okay, buddy, you had a rough 2 months.
That's from West Side Story,
or somebody,
Officer Krupke from West Side Story.
Krupke would have taken him. Okay, you ready for the next headline?
Barney Fife used to deliver groceries and soup when people were sick in Mayberry. Maybe you've convinced me.
Barney Fife would have taken him.
That's right.
He would have given him a good talking to on the way. I don't want to ever catch you doing this again, but he would have taken him. Yeah. Okay, you ready for the next one?
Second rule is obey all rules.
What's the first one?
I forget. I think it was don't write on the walls, as it is very difficult for us to get the graffiti off the walls.
You ready for the second one?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. You guys are pet lovers, you and your wife?
Yeah. My wife is a pet lover.
Oh.
I'm a pet tolerator.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. So that's a new category. I didn't realize that. But here's some information that your wife's going to find handy, and that you probably need to know, because if you tolerate pets, you might be guilty of annoying them in some way. Are you guilty of ever annoying? Do you ever like kind of just annoy pets just to see their reaction? Do you do that?
Not anymore.
Okay, well, let me tell you, new science, no, this is real. Okay. Studies have shown, you know how we like to take the little red laser beams and let the dog chase after it, and right?
That's not annoying them.
Yes, it is. Studies are showing now that that can literally drive a dog nuts. Here's why.
Can the audience see me roll my eyes?
Get a tight shot of Ed rolling his eyes. No, here's why.
Okay.
Because when you flash the red light, the prey response is triggered in the animal, and they are ready to pounce and ready to search out whatever this beam
on a red light.
That doesn't give them anything at the end of the light. It's just a mass of nothingness. And so there was a doctor.
Like my life.
There was a doctor.
Mass of nothingness. I'm chasing a red light. That's a description of my life.
Well, if you are chasing it, you're on your way to crazy.
I want to know. I got to read the study. Let me.
Okay, so here's what he said. He said they get so wound up and driven with prey drive that once they start chasing this light, they can't stop. And then he says this, they just spend their whole lives wishing and waiting for nothing.
Now, see, that's my first question would be, how does this guy know what a dog or a cat is wishing?
Well, I don't know. Tufts University. So, I mean, whatever comes out of that university.
Well, Tufts University is a good school.
You know, this doctor, you know, veterinary medicine, he says if you want to.
You know what?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. This is becoming a nation of weenies. Even our dogs and cats are weenies, where we're concerned about their self-image and their self-esteem and what they're wishing, wish fulfillment. Their wishes aren't coming true. This is ridiculous. I think we ought to just take dogs and cats and show them some tough love. See, this is what I tell the dogs. See, you sometimes seek for things all your life and you don't get it. Deal with it. That's what I would tell my dog.
You would not make a good dog whisperer.
Disappointment will crush your hopes and dreams. It's time that you got used to it.
I'm so glad.
So I told my kids growing up, didn't affect them.
I'm glad you're not a motivational coach because I don't feel motivated. Okay, you ready for the next headline? Okay, here we go. Have you ever seen that show, Hoarding, Buried Alive? Ed, I can't watch it. It's so overwhelming. I feel anxious when I watch it, and I can't detach myself from the situation. There's a part of me that wants to get in there and clean. Like I want to move stuff. I want to throw things away, and I know that there's a way you handle them, but I just can't handle it. My mother-in-law loves to watch it, and she just empathizes, you know. But I'm just like, throw away the egg cartons, like you know, get rid of it.
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal. What do you think that kind of syndrome? What kind of, you know, psychological disorder do you think would be connected with something like hoarding?
Hoarding, or the people who watch it? What kind of psychological?
Well, it depends. Do you watch it, Ed?
I have watched it.
Okay.
I do like it. I want to see the movement with the bulldozer and just.
Well, that sends them into shock. Well, a lot of people, here's the point I'm getting to. A lot of people think that it's OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, that drives them to.
I'm not up on my DSM, my diagnostic statistical manual.
Wow, that's good.
Psychological, the American Psychological Association. You know, it has a list of all the syndromes. You ever read that?
No,
it's like going through a medical. It's like going through a medical book and saying, "I have that."
No,
I have that syndrome.
You know, there's other things for me to do in my free time, Ed. But no, here's the deal. Hoarding is associated with perfectionism.
What?
I found that shocking. Don't you? This is real.
Is this from Tufts University too?
No, this is not from Tufts University.
They have now been dropped a couple of pegs. Perfectionism, how is that?
Perfectionism, it's the fear of making the wrong decision. So they took a group of people who have this hoarding syndrome, and they gave them a few things to keep or discard. And they measured their brain waves, and the part of the brain that has a hard time making decisions was triggered when they were forced what to keep and what to throw out. And so really what they're not sloppy, they're not OCD, they're just perfectionists who have a hard time making a decision.
First of all, I didn't know there was a part of the brain that had a hard time, the part that has a hard time making decisions.
Yeah.
Because that would mean, I can't imagine how many parts of the brain there would be if you're going to segment it like that. But I don't understand why that would be called perfectionism. Perfectionism, it seems to me, would be the fact that everything has to be in its place and it can't be moved. You ever see those houses in hoarders? Those people aren't perfectionists. I mean, this stuff is just scattered in piles. It seems like a perfectionist would want everything in its original place.
Yes.
And they'd have shelves and everything would be just so. And if you moved it, No, that's not perfectionism.
See, that's what I thought.
These places have rats and
I
rat
know,
feces.
And here's the, well, that usually goes along with
there
rats.
There are teenage boys all over the country going, yes, Mom, I'm a perfectionist.
No.
I can't decide what to do with my dirty clothes. I don't want to put it in the wrong place, so I just drop it.
Right, you know, and I found this, I really thought this was interesting because what they're saying is, I guess the perfectionist bent is that they want to make the right decision, and so they just do nothing. They can't decide on what to throw and what to keep. And there's also like emotional attachments that I just, you know, and I guess everybody's got
I don't see how they could be emotionally attached to every piece of junk. You know, a lot of those places, they buy stuff and they don't ever open it.
That's true.
I don't know how you're emotionally attached to it. This is, I do have some respect for psychiatry and psychology, but this is why it's, to me, not on the same level as chemistry or physics or biology. It's not a hard science because it seems to me you can twist anything to mean anything when you're dealing with human behavior.
Yeah, and I guess that's exactly what they've done. Well, Ed, always a good time having you in studio. Thanks so much for a little bit of comic relief and like serious analysis of what's happening in today's headlines, right?
Right.
Okay, still to come. I've got to tell you what's got me all pinned up this week. Okay, and now it's time for me to tell you what's got me all pinned up this week. First of all, let me just tell you this. So we have 3 children, right? And when we had our first kid, we did everything. We made this nursery, this wonderful space that we loved to just go and sit in even as we were waiting for her. I mean, it was just the perfect room. We made sure to paint it yellow because people said it made baby smarter. I think that's true. But baby number 2 came along, and we just put baby number 2 into the room with baby number 1. So it was already decorated and ready to go. Baby number 3 is in his own room, but it's kind of not his room only. It is the office / guest room when people are in town. And so, you know, I don't even know what we're going to do when baby number 4 comes along. I don't know, maybe they'll just sleep in the garage or something like that. But I've got to tell you what's got me all pinned up, right? So this is really simple and really easy because getting back to my 3rd kid's room, his name is Josiah David, we'll call him JD. There's not a lot of space in there, but there is need for a hamper. I just can't figure out where to put it. Well, I was on Pinterest this week and saw this amazing pin that came from organizedmom.net. You can take a standard pillowcase and then turn that into a hamper. Now, how fun is this? You take embroidery hoops. Now, normally when you pick up embroidery hoops at your local like craft store or your multi-purpose big store that everyone goes to, they're going to be wooden. But I found these neat colored plastic ones, which is going to take your design to the next level, kind of show a little bit of your personality and a little bit of pizzazz. Now, I could have done a standard white pillowcase, but I mean, hello, who doesn't like a little zebra, right? So think in terms of not a lot of space, but practical, right? Also think in terms of like a dorm room or even a baby's nursery. Like this is going into my toddler's room. Okay, not this one. I don't know how he feels about zebra, but you know. Anyway, this is going into my toddler's room, but you could do this in any room. Really easy. And especially because I want to say that I am not artsy or crafty. If I can do this, you can do this. Again, if I can do this, you can do this. So here you go. You put it through your embroidery hoop, right? And then you just tighten the tension on it. Make sure you get it lined up. And I think it's really important to make sure that everything is in line because you're going to be tossing laundry in here and you don't want them to come apart. So I'm just going to check that, make sure that's all tightened. Oh my goodness, how cute is that? I love it, okay? And that takes like 2 minutes to do. And you can put that in a dorm room or a baby's nursery. I'm gonna put it in a toddler room. Now, okay, I'm a germphobe, so can I tell you really quickly why this is really, really neat to me? Because I know that a hamper is supposed to be dirty by nature, but there is just something dear to me about knowing that I can toss this entire thing, just take it all apart and toss this entire thing in the wash. I absolutely love it. So that's why I repin that to my board, save time and save your mind. Now, if you want to follow me on Pinterest, I'm Meeke Addison. I'd love to follow some of your pins and see what's got you all pinned up. Also, thanks to organizedmom.net for this wonderful idea. When you hang this, I just want to caution you, make sure that you don't hang it too high, especially if, like me, you're going to hang it in your toddler's room. You want to make sure you hang it at just the right height, so that your little guy can be a big help. JD! Hey, JD, where's your shirt? Good job, buddy. High five. Still ahead on Meeke. Bringing up, I didn't even think about the differences between denominations. When you have the Word of God as our foundation, and when we have church leadership set up by the man of God, who was the man qualified to make those standards or to set those standards, how is it possible that denomination to denomination we can implement something different and still say that we're adhering to the Word of God?